What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Of course, you know it's your boy B-Hop Radio shouting. Hey, man, I got an A-Town legend, one of the greatest producers to ever come out of the city and in the game as well. DJ Toomp off in this thing. What's good with it, boss?
You back, baby. What's happening?
Hey, man, first of all, appreciate you coming through this thing as always, Toomp. You know, it's always a pleasure to get a GOAT and an icon in the building to really bring some perspective to the game at the same time, man. Now, last week, Toomp, we had the pleasure of being invited out there to that Donda listening party, man. Kanye West got the Benz, packed it out, sold it out.
That shit was crazy.
It was crazy as hell. First of all, tell me, what was your thoughts when you went in there and you saw the whole vibe of the artists, the audience and the atmosphere and everything that was going on in there?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, keeping it 100.
My
first thoughts when I got the phone call, my boy Slim Calhoun hit
Slim
me, right?
Cutter.
Slim.
He hit me.
So I think, cause him and Farnsworth Bentley, you know, they've been knowing each other since kids. So they're super cool. So I guess when they was trying to get the whole VIP list together, you know, they hit me and was like, yo, Tom, you know, what you doing, Thursday? What you doing Thursday? I'm like, yo, you know, shit, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, Kanye in town and boom. And I'm like, oh shit. Oh shit. Well, I'm like, okay, which one of my laptops I'm finna take right here and bang some heads out? You know what I mean? Which MIDI control, which MP I'm gonna take.
Thanks.
And they was like, oh, now you having an event. And, you know, we want to invite you to. So I didn't know what the hell it was, really. Yeah. I didn't even know. I'm thinking they finna say come to the studio and bang out.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean? So then when they said it was an album release party, I was like, oh, shit, the album done. Fine.
Yeah.
Damn, niggas always call me at the end of their album. I hate that shit. Like, I ain't call me when we was working, man.
Exactly.
I don't fuck with Toomp no more. So when I got there, I started seeing Goody Mob. And I saw Organized, me, Sleeping them. All of us walked in together.
Yeah.
And so I was asking them, like, hey, man, so I'm walking in there lame as hell. I said, hey, fellas, so what is this shit, man?
Yeah.
He said, man, it's supposed to be an album release party. I was like, supposed to be, okay.
Yeah.
I say, so the album coming out? He said, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, that was fast.
Yeah.
But last I heard that he was still recording. And, you know, I'm like, well, shit, all right. So we all in the big lobby. That's when I ran into you. Yeah. We started kicking it. You know, we started politicking.
That's right.
And I still didn't know. And everybody was like, boy, you seen what was outside? I'm like, nah, what they doing? But I know it looked like it was snowing or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really still was green to what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
I said, so while we sitting there, I said, so is he performing? They said, I think. I said, well, he just gonna play the album? I'm like, okay, this is real interesting. So I'm thinking everything is supposed to go on in the lobby where we were.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a whole stadium situation. Ooh. That's just how green I am. That's just how much I stay in the house, B. I need to get my ass out a little more.
I feel
and so when they was like, all right, everybody, showtime, let's go. Man, when I walked out there and saw the people, I was like, man, this is another soccer game or what? Like this shit Super Bowl playoff, man. It was, man, he filled that joint up, bro.
Crazy.
And I'm like, yo, boy, the A really showed up for Ye. Okay, here we go. You know? I think I played a little part in this.
Exactly.
You know, from my history, you know, from the graduation album. That's when I know a lot of my folks from the A started really fucking with him, you know, graduation. So, you know.
When you went out there and you saw that audience and you could see the energy in the building and that music started playing, what was going through your mind at that time? And then when you think about just the rollout of albums and listening parties that you have been to in the past compared to that one,
come on, boy.
Where do you rank that and how do you compare and contrast that?
Shit, it's honestly, one of the best rollouts as far as an album release was, I think, one of the ones that Jeezy did at Visions.
Ooh.
I think BMF and all the niggas was still out too. Man, that shit was like crazy. You know? It was just the energy was, I think everybody had on black if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. I would never forget that. You know, just think that building don't even exist no more. I didn't think nothing could really top that one.
Yeah.
Until this one. And I'm like, yo, man, this boy here is a genius. He really reached in his bag. I don't know who around him, or was this his idea or Derek's idea, Farnsworth. Everybody knows, you know, Derek is his real name.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who idea it was. But once I saw everything and saw speakers everywhere, I'm like, oh, this shit is brilliant.
Yeah.
But the first thing you know, I'm a geek. I'm a tech geek. I'm like, what this shit's gonna sound like when the music come on? You know? It's like I was talking about earlier. I heard when they first opened Mercedes. It was a country artist or whatever performed there, and I know everybody was complaining about the acoustics and how they really couldn't hear what was going on. But one thing, when he first came out, now the low ends in that one record was hitting. It was hitting. But I was, I was just listening.
Yeah.
I was just listening. You know? What you got from it?
For me, it was just an energy thing and a vibe thing. When I went in there, we was all kicking it, drinking, and we was able to get our minds right before we even went in there. Then when we got in there, when I saw that whole stadium was packed, it was like, wow. Everybody's coming in here just to listen.
Then with that music,
oh man, he brought out everybody. He brought out the Rainbow Coalition in that thing.
It was beautiful.
So then, when that music started playing and people started going crazy, it was like, my God, how can one man have all this power? You see what I'm saying? I was crazy. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I was listening to that, and then I was thinking, okay, I heard Jay-Z pop out of nowhere on a verse.
Yeah,
I heard Lil Baby pop out of nowhere on a verse. Those moments, kind of triggered the audience to go a little crazy.
Yeah.
When he waltzed out there and he started walking around, I was like, okay, when you gonna hit that mic and start preaching and talking your stuff? And that album kept on playing.
Now that's where I was. Honestly, man, on some... I guess we country boys. We show a lot of hospitality.
Yeah.
And when we open our doors to folks, man, we really we figure we want to get that hospitality, in return. And I really thought it would be something, that he would, pick up the mic somewhere and say, hey, y'all, thanks for coming out. Thanks for fucking with me. Yo, you know what I mean? But, and it was cool, but I was like, because I felt the same way. I was like, okay, he dancing around for a minute, but somewhere he gonna pick up the mic and just holler at the crowd, acknowledge folks. You know how Jay-Z used to do at the end of his concerts?
Yeah.
And just acknowledge the whole crowd. Hey, man, shine a light and start pointing people out. Oh, I like what you got on. Oh, y'all looking good together. All that shit there, that creates that makes your fans just embrace you even more.
Yeah.
Even people who just halfway like Jay-Z might love him now.
If he shot him out.
Just because he shouted them out.
Exactly.
Somebody he don't know. Hey, man, you with the red hat, you and your lady, whoa, y'all looking good together.
Come
I like
on
that.
now.
That kind of shit matters. So I thought that Ye would at least, address us. But he left us. He just walked because I didn't know it was over.
Yeah.
Everybody just having to look at each other and say, you think he coming back out?
My God.
And then we just left,
Yeah. Now, as somebody that won a Grammy with Ye,
right?
Can you talk to me about that creative process? Because you and Ye go back and you brought a lot of funk to his music at the same time. That's how the South got, we started embracing Kanye through that Toomp sound. So for you, what was it like on the production end of things when you were listening to what was going on and just the whole vibe of the music?
Oh, man. B, boy, you put me in the corner. Fuck it. I'm going to keep it 100. But just as a producer, as a music guy, as a guy who really loved hip-hop.
Yeah.
And hip-hop is derived from drums.
Yeah.
As far as us.
Yeah.
We come from.
That's right. We
send signals across the ocean.
Yeah.
With drums.
Facts.
That's our shit, the beat.
Yeah.
That's the rhythm. And when I heard a lot of the songs that just didn't have drums, because I heard a few that it was one with some wicked ass piano.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I'm like, ooh. So okay. And that shit was I thought it was about to drop, and it was like, oh, is it? Then he started talking. And I was like, damn, that's it?
Yeah.
Is that the song?
Yeah.
So my first thing is like, I hope the album don't sound like this.
Ooh.
Because that sound like that could be dope. Like,
Yeah.
If I was in the studio, I'd say, hey, is the shit gonna drop anywhere?
Yeah.
Because you build us up and you thinking that shit finna
go crazy,
and it goes to another song. And I was like, this album must not be finished. Because you had a lot of people who was like, oh, the album coming out in a few hours. I said, no, brother. From where I come from, you got to go through mixing. And I've seen Kanye mix records 7 times or more. Because, sonically it's something he was looking for. I'm like, yo, if y'all think this album right here that he's performing, that he's playing to us, gonna be out in a few hours, y'all really gotta be tripping.
Ooh.
But then you got these people who try to put cats on a pedestal. Hey man, shit too. Boy, with technology, some shit can come out overnight. I said, bruh, that's for somebody who's independent and who don't care what it sound like.
Yeah.
But that man right there cares about what his shit sound like.
Exactly.
And I promise you, I could have bet everybody in the building, this album ain't coming out in a few hours like y'all think.
My God.
Especially if I saw footage of 2 Chainz still in that recording.
Exactly.
So I'm like, what make y'all think this man really gonna rush and throw an album out unmixed and mastered?
He a perfectionist. He ain't about to put out no craziness.
And the minute that after the concert and the next day, the album didn't release, I'm sitting here like, do y'all really think this shit was coming out?
So now
people can be funny, man. And sometimes they just cry a little too much.
Exactly.
Too hard.
You know we call them fanboys. Yeah. And the issue is, you see what I'm saying? You got these fanboys out there like, whatever Ye does, I just, But answer me this, though, Toomp, as a super producer and somebody that understands what's going on, I need you to come at this from a commentator perspective.
Okay.
What is going on in that binge right now? When Kanye went out there and played that music and said, you know what, I'm about to move into the binge and finish this album, what the hell is going on in there, Toomp?
I wish I could tell you, but just from being on the outside looking in, I'm thinking right now he had a chance to really gauge the reaction, and he know how important Atlanta is. Atlanta influences everything at this moment. It's been like that for double-digit years now. It may sound a little arrogant coming from us, from Atlanta. I mean,
it is what it is.
ATLian, but that's what it is. So I guess this whole thing is, like you said, it may be a certain reaction that he may have been looking for, and decided, hey, let me go back, to the drawing board. But like I say, drums, man. And so I'm not gonna name these producers, but it was like 2 or 3 producers in there were like, shit, Toomp, a lot of shit just is cool without drums. And I'm like, bruh, I dare you to go back home and take the drums out of some of your hottest beats, talking about you get ready to play it for somebody. Please, man, do not do that, sir. Don't just sit here and tell me taking drums out your track is the new wave.
Exactly.
Just because you just heard Ye play some shit with no drums. Like, have you lost your mind, brother?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm sitting here like, man, y'all, because it was wild because, I'm a fan too.
Yeah.
And I'm a friend.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just saw people bobbing their heads to stuff that wasn't even bobbable.
Ooh.
It's like, okay, y'all hear the lyrics, but y'all bobbing your head trying to make this shit
do something.
Y'all trying to make it do something that we thought it was gonna do. And like you say, it raised everybody up. And right when you think a beat's gonna drop, that shit go to another song.
Okay.
I just feel that he's teasing us. I would really love to help him put that album together.
Talk to me about Can't Tell Me Nothing. What was that creative process when you were in there with Ye cranking up that kind of music?
Well, one thing about Can't Tell Me Nothing, that was more like sending files back and forth to each other. Jeezy was the liaison between that. He brokered that whole thing because it was originally a Jeezy song, I Got Money, with him and Tip. But Kanye wanted to do a remix. That's why, wait till I get my money right. His whole thing was like, I'm gonna bring another concept to what Jeezy was talking about, which is money, but I just hear something else. He just wanted to get that to, bring that element, and it started off as supposed to be a I Got Money remix, but everybody didn't agree with all the elements was in it, but I was crazy about the everybody didn't like the,
What?
Yeah, my guy didn't like the I was like, yo, man, that's the guts of this shit.
That's it.
But he ended up getting on the remix, you know what I mean? But it was us just sending files back and forth to each other, and that's what we came up with. And once we got together, we decided like, hey man, this is what it is. Damn, okay, a new song out of I Got Money remix. Now it's a whole nother song called Can't Tell Me Nothing. And
my God,
one of the biggest Ye records to this day,
The Grammy, Good Life. Break that one down though, man.
Well, Good Life, a little bit of that is on YouTube. Ye was playing with first of all, we knew we wanted like an upper tempo record with a certain energy, and and what's crazy is funny because even back then his whole thing was stadium status. That's why even on Big Brother, he said stadium status.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. He's at a stadium right now. You see what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So that's what we was like with Good Life. We was like, yo, we would just want a certain energy. And I think around that time, what was it? It was a song that he was, these motherfuckers, these. That was Rich Boy, right? Yeah. Around the
throw
time.
Throw some D's on it.
Yeah, throw some D's. Around the time he was on that Rich Boys remix.
Yeah.
Because I was there when he was just laying his verse down and everything. You know what I mean? Because Polo had brought it to him. It was like, yo, and then we got on it. And that's when Ye figured like, hey man, I need something with some more energy, kind of like this. So he was playing with the Michael Jackson sample.
Yeah.
And I heard where he was going. He had it in the MP 2000. But I had my 60 and my Rolling Phantom sat off to the side. They're my two.
Yeah, bad boys. I'm with you.
My boys right there.
Yeah.
Hardware.
Yeah.
Hardware, fellas. I had a reason, but I just wasn't on.
Yeah.
That I wasn't really sure about.
It wasn't
producing
time for that yet.
Yeah. So he was playing with the sample, but my whole thing was like he had it slowed down for a certain tempo, and I was like, yo. I say, where you have it now is kind of toned down so low to where when we want to add music, it's going to be at a key that's kind of a sad key. So I brought it back up to the original key of, but original is, that's the end.
Yeah.
Once again, you already know most records that we sampled as the classics are really at the end of the song.
Yeah.
That's the guts of it.
Thanks.
So when he sampled that, I was like, all right. But his was, so when you get into the whole theory of music, that key would have been so low that it wouldn't have had that same energy. So I was like, yo, I'm getting ready to let me get that. I'm gonna tune it back up to its original key. That way it's gonna be easier for us to build music around.
Yeah.
And boom, once he sent the sample to me, I threw it in the Rolling Phantom, ASR, chopped it up, then I put the MP in there, and the magic just started going from there. And he started bobbing around the room, writing in his head. That's why, you can pull up YouTube footage, just a little bitty, little piece of it, man. I might have been like 30 pounds heavier back then, but it's it was the magic, man, and that was just us really sitting in there working like what producers do and / artists, you know what I mean?
Facts. When you speak of stadium music though, man, I mean, we got to go back to that Big Brother because even Ye understood what y'all were making at that time. Take me through the production process of that one and then understanding what y'all was trying to do at that time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing with Ye. The way Ye is really a collaborative producer. You may come in with usually a producer could come in with a track that he feels is complete, but Ye might say, hey, I like that, but I want to change the drums. I want to do this. I think that bass line should come out.
Yeah.
You got some cats who will take that shit personally and be like, man, no, don't fuck up my beat. That was the most important shit. You know what I mean? That's producer stuff. I know I can name some big name producers who work with Ye who were upset because they didn't like the way their song came out. If you walk in with your track a certain way, you expect it to be accepted that way. You don't want nobody to take, certain elements out that you feel was important. So Big Brother was one of them songs really where Ye was like, hey, I'm just finna be the artist on this one. Because the other one we collab, Good Life. I mean, Good Life and Can't Tell Me Nothing. But Big Brother, that was all me. Like, only it might have been additional lead guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
All those instruments, I played all those joints, man.
So
that was all me. He didn't take anything out.
Exactly.
He took that track exactly the way it was, the way I brought it.
So when it comes down to the creative process of getting two legends and icons in the studio together, how does that go though, Toomp? Because see, I'm trying to get into the mind of Ye and the people that's in there cooking at the bins right now as we speak. What the hell is going on in there, Toomp?
I wish I could tell you because see, I think how long that's been since we did that graduation album. And like I say, Kanye produced a different way a little bit now. Because when we were working on graduation, it was mostly me and him in the studio. And if you had a few other producers who would come through, but in the creative process, it was mostly me and him. He really didn't have too many writers. But right now, he got like 3 or 4 writers on team. You got Sci-Hi, you got Pusha T.
Yeah, Pusha. He got some cold
you know what I mean?
ass niggas. Yeah.
But I don't know. When I listen to some of the records, though, I'm gonna just have to listen to the records again. Cause I heard they was playing some of them on satellite radio, and I was like, okay, man, for you to have all these writers in the room, I figured I would hear some more lyrical shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know the way he's producing now. Just for me, listening to the cats who've sat with him, they it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, I would say. You know what I mean?
And see, let me get in here though.
It's a lot, and I don't,
as
you know,
we continue, because we got a lot of people that are gonna be critical of you being critical about what you heard. Just like I was talking about the fanboys earlier, so I just have to touch that base to let them understand that you won a Grammy with Kanye.
Yes.
Okay, so you have the right to say whatever
I got
the hell
right
you want to say.
And man, come on, man, I've been producing since 1985.
Exactly.
Man. And I've been loving music before hip hop even came. Like, I wanted to be a singer when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to look at album covers and imagine myself on stage playing them instruments.
Yeah.
And then later on, you know, hip hop came, and I found out that I had the knack to be a DJ, and I was incredible at beating on the school desk.
Exactly.
You know, make some of the hardest beats on the lunch table. So
my God.
And that's why I was like, oh, okay, I'm a beat maker. Later on, I was like, oh shit, I'm a producer. So I definitely know music.
Mm-hmm. So now back to what you was hearing on satellite, and how did that affect you differently from what you heard in that stadium?
I heard the song, but I was still like, I still felt like he needs something stronger right about now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Especially when you, I think when an artist is in a position to where it's some lightweight rivalry going on. You know, people still looking at him and Drake as, you know, I heard they got they made amends or whatnot.
Yeah.
But people are still comparing the two.
Yeah.
Because when you think of your top five, you know, people always gonna say, you know, Kanye, you know, they'll say Jay, Kanye, Drake, you know, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
And I think for Ye to continue being in that top five or that top seven or however, you know, many people got in their tops, maybe three.
Yeah.
He definitely, I just want to hear some more lyrics, man. You know, definitely beats. But as far as the artist, I want to just hear some lyrics. Like, where that shock value at that you usually bring, you know, that slickness, you know? Like, ooh, you heard what he said? Take that shit back.
Exactly.
I'm waiting to hear that. And once I hear that, I don't even have to be on the album. I'm just gonna embrace it as a fan. Yeah. You know, so that's what I'm looking for. You know, like I say, because this is, we at a moment right now. Like, you still got cats like Lil Baby who kicking ass.
Come on, man.
Man, that man might have about 5 more albums ready. And believe me, and all of them got them beats and those drums.
Ready to go.
Baby got lyrics, but he makes sure the drums are hitting, and whatever tracks he select to get on, he makes sure that it's gonna move. It moves him, and he makes sure. By now, Baby know what his fans. You know what moves him. Same thing with Drake and anybody else that you could think of. Just like how you got J. Cole with this song with 21 Savage.
Yeah, I'm all right.
With a little sample in there.
Yeah.
And they brought that element again. What was the first one was I love you. A lot, right?
Yeah.
And they brought that same
feel
again, but a totally different record.
Facts.
And the beats, it's beating. Like, how can you do this shit with no beats, bro?
Answer me this though, Toomp. As a producer and somebody with real deal longevity, how has your creative process changed over the years? And how do you think the signs of the times affect your production, man? Or is it just the same thing? Or how do you grow or how do you change with it?
Well, I would say definitely the signs of the time. You know how when I did What You Know for T.I.
Yeah.
That was real anthem, a lot of music.
Facts.
It was like 50-50, like 50% music, 50% drums, you know what I mean? But now it's more of a drum-driven game again, especially when you think about female rappers. You even never know, a lot of female songs, really like, what's her name? You got Cardi B, you got Nicki. No. Well, Nicki, she got something out, but right now, no, what's her name? Megan.
Yeah. And
it's another, what's the female, what's the new dude, man? He sounds just like Raheem the Dream.
BRS Cash?
No, he's a producer.
Producer.
Beat King.
Oh, that's my dog, Beat King.
Man, that nigga that cold. I want to meet. Where's he from, man?
That's him right here, man. I'll run with him down in Texas,
there you go.
man. Yeah.
That's a beat driven. It ain't no
that
music.
That is the fam.
So it's like, it's a beat driven game right now. So now I have to really make sure to not do all the anthem shit that I used to do because it's 2021. You can't put all that music in there now,
come on now.
You got to just focus on the beat first, because especially female rappers, the ones that I notice more female rappers are drawn to the beat driven tracks more than the music driven. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay. right now, honestly, I feel like now is the time to where any cat, you can find you a cool male artist, but you gotta understand, a lot of these niggas still in the street.
Yeah.
A lot of them still getting in trouble. A lot of them trying to get in trouble, thinking that that's a part of their MO that's gonna bring more fans.
Yeah.
That shit does not bring more fans because you got bodies.
I'm with you on that.
That does not bring more fans, y'all. That really makes
the feds. It brings more feds. It brings
more feds, and we kind of scared of you.
Yeah.
So don't think that you just got to be this made guy with this aura around you to be accepted by the masses. So, yeah, honestly, nowadays, bruh, I think it's cool for a cat to really go through some strip clubs and find that girl who got that, even if it ain't strip club, just a girl who got the looks, the swag, and can stay on beat, even if I had to write her shit. Yeah. Like, that's really the wave now, to find a nice-ass female, because they coming through, man. It's a swarm of them right now.
Now, I got to bring it back to Ye one more time.
And you ain't got to worry about keeping motherfuckers out of jail. Okay.
Facts. Shit. I got to bring it back to Ye one more time, though, Toomp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, come
Okay. The Good Life, that brought home the Grammy. Mm-hmm. Can't Tell Me Nothing is what bridged Kanye to the South.
To the hood, for sure.
Big Brother was an iconic song that he was able to explain exactly what the hell was going on between him and Jay-Z.
And so many people can run Big Brother parallel with so many other experiences that they go through. That's why so many people embrace that song, because you can run that. It runs with a lot of people's situation that they've gone through, even with a real big brother in life. Like, hey man, how can I approach this situation? And I'm being treated this way because I'm little brother. Yeah. So it's like it was a real personal song that a lot of folks can relate to. That's why to this day they say that's one of their favorite Ye records.
Well, see, what I'm trying to say is, you killed the industry with the Grammy. Mm-hmm. You killed the streets but Can't Tell Me Nothing.
Yes, sir.
And you touched the hearts of men with Big Brother.
Right.
What is it that Donda needs?
So far from what I've heard in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Donda needs that true anthem, man. That's still Kanye driven, not feature driven. You know what I mean? Ooh. I heard Baby on the Record. I think Roddy Ricch was on one too. Mm-hmm. And I heard Jay-Z, Mm-hmm. And it's good to hear the features, just be like, oh shit, he on the album. But man, what
Ye don't need them goddamn features.
Come on, Ye.
And that ain't no disrespect to the features, because all of them are major features. But that's Kanye. Features,
but still, like, we still focusing on you, Ye. Yeah. We happy to hear you and Jay, back cool or whatnot. But excuse me, we still we want to hear that Ye. Yeah. And that's why I was like, I try not to really judge anything until I can really hear that shit in my system and just turn the shit up in my Porsche or whatever vehicle I'm in and ride and just fill it up, put it on, fill up with gas and just go in circles, 285 and ride. But I really try not to judge it from what I've heard from Mercedes, but one thing I can say, listening to it sonically, it's a few things missing. It's a few things missing sonically.
So if you were to go into that Benz right now, which you'll probably wind up doing, what would you tell Ye?
First, I would, and this would, one thing, man, in my 52 years of being on this planet, I know humans very well.
Okay, then.
So I definitely go in, I wouldn't want him to feel he had to have his guards up. I go, through it in my most humble approach. And really just be like, hey, kind of like how a good teacher would say, hey, that's not how you do that. They'll say, why did you do that?
Yeah. Ooh.
Why? What made you do that? Mm-hmm. But he won't know if it's good or bad. I'd be like, you know what I mean? And that's how you got to approach situations, because you don't know. And like I said, me and him cool, but people change after a while. Yeah. He just came out of a divorce. Yeah. So it's a few things that that most likely he want to pour out personally on that album. So it may be he want a real personal album. You know what I mean? So that's why sometimes that's why it's like you got to ask why before you really bring, hey man, this is what I think you need. Let me see. So where you going with this? Is this based around your mom? If so, if you naming this song Donda after moms, where that mom record at that's going to make everybody goddamn eyes just...
Because you already got Big Brother.
And you paint incredible pictures. Where's that Donda record? Let me hear that good record about your mom, dog. Like, that's going to make every nigga who mom ain't here no more just feel like, oh my God, that's my favorite shit on the album.
Dear Mama 2021.
Yeah, I would, and that's the type of conversations that we would have while working a lot of time when the music stopped, when everybody eating. You know, take that lunch break, you know, turn everything down. Don't want to hear nothing now. We just want to hear each other.
Yeah.
That's a conversation. If I was in there, I would bring that up like, hey, man, if you're going to name this song after your mom, let's make one of the dopest mom records ever.
My God.
To just fuck everybody up. You know what I mean?
You wear me out right now, Toomp, because what you're talking about is called producing. And I haven't seen a lot of producing going on in these streets lately.
And I'm the type of cat to where I wouldn't even have to do the beat.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing ideas of what songs, like you say, but that's going back to it when people ask, what's the difference between a producer and a beat maker?
Facts.
Like a producer, you can make a beat, but a producer brings the ideas, and that's why Jermaine is so great at it. He'll tell you how the Usher albums came together. During the lunch breaks and the dinners, when they take a break from the studio, when they on the basketball court, the conversations they having. You know what? We're going to make a song about that. Or JD feel like, I'm going to write a song about this. Or he'll write about his experiences, and Usher just bring that shit out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, it's got to come from a real, from some shit. That's why I was like, that's why when I really listen, that's why I can't wait to really just hear it to where I can hear where he is. But one thing, I bring way more than beats to the table. That's why it ain't about me coming in with no beats. It's like, I'm great at being that guy on the outside looking in. I'm good, even when it comes to a person's business. Hey man, I see what y'all doing, but me being on the outside looking in, this way y'all should do this and this and this. And I'm great at that. It ain't even about me having beats on the album. It's like, hey, I can tell you some of the elements that you're missing, brother. You know what I mean?
Answer me this though, Toomp. When you are a part of things that are that damn large and so great, so you know you got a concept album called American Gangster, and you team up with Jay-Z. What is that like when y'all got the concept and you thinking to yourself, okay, this is American Gangster album. This shit got to be gangster, but this is Jay-Z, but then it's a period piece as well, and I still have to bring it back home to the South with that bottom in that thing.
Yeah.
What is that creative process like?
The Sonics, man, once again, you know, and that's one of the things what made Jay-Z lean in my direction, period, you know, because we met on a few occasions, you know. I used to be managed, my boy Brian Reed, L.A. Reed, brother, he was managing me before. And I remember him taking me to New York before, you know. I ran into some people with Jay and his folks. But then my boy Big John took me to him, and I met him again, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, he remembered me, and I ran into him in Vegas a few times, but he definitely knew my face and my name and knew I was that A-Town guy.
Exactly.
But once he really heard my music, he was like, I knew what I could get from that guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Especially after he heard me do the Ye album, he was like, "Oh, okay,
I need that nigga."
You need to come get some of that. You know, I need to get that. So, and it worked, and that's what I brought, like sonically. That's why I can't just give him a sample, you know, the love we share, and just chop it up. Dun, dun, dun,
yeah.
You know, without that shit in it, you know what I mean? So it's the elements. It's just different things that producers will bring, and that's one thing I bring is beats, the music, and even concepts. And like even when it comes to lyrics, it's like what? Good Life. It took us a minute to really finish Good Life. It was like, I always had the path for fashion, this is attached with the fashion, the good life. Like it took us about 2 hours to finish that. And that's what a lot of artists go through. That's the part that they don't really tell you about when you get, especially if you got, you know, people in there, you know, a team, if you're working as a team. Yeah, that last line in a few artists' verses, man, they be trying to figure out, hey, man, what can I say right here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Ye is a guy who's open like that. He figured like, hey, man, as long as this song is finished, I don't care. Even if the guy who's sweeping the floor just happened to say, hey, man, I can show you how to finish them last 5 bars. And guess what? He's going to get publishing from that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the type of guy Ye is. He's open like, damn, hold on, what you say, dude? Oh, shit, that does fit. All right, let's put that in there, man. Give them your information. That might be a dude who ain't a producer or nothing. He might just be a rapper on the low and just be like, hey, man, I see y'all having problems finishing these last 8 bars. Here you go.
What are your thoughts?
So he's open like that for you know, as far
collaboration.
As like collaboration, yeah.
What are your thoughts when you look up and you realize the Mercedes-Benz Twitter has to turn their name into the Donda studio?
That's incredible.
That's crazy.
Listen, man, that's one thing about dude. He will he just do the unusual. He just do some shit that who would have thought about posting up in a stadium and doing an album? We already know, definitely every major venue like a stadium has a state-of-the-art studio just to even broadcast to the masses a certain way. So those are some of the best mixers, some of the most high tech microphones that you can find. So and just ain't no telling what type of acoustics he's getting in whatever room he's in. But it's just interesting at the same time too. That's safe because we already know. Sad to say, we hope it get better. A lot of studios ain't safe around Atlanta right about now. So you feel like, hey, the safest studio I know is in that motherfucking.
Y'all niggas ain't getting in this door.
Y'all can't get in here. Y'all can't drive by and see who cars sitting outside. So as far as this where we are, we kind of like Code Orange right now when it comes to studios. So I think that's the safest studio in Atlanta.
But then also imagine if you're making stadium music, you're inside a stadium, but then you get to test it on the stadium speakers because you're living in there every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you get to go from the studio and then you get to walk right back out there on that field again, play that music again and say, okay, this is how it sounds in the stadium.
Well, I tried in the club before the stadium if it came down to me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
See, like Dr. Dre, right?
That's right.
At Interscope, Dr. Dre had his studio where he works at, and of course the Sonics are dope. Mm-hmm. But at Interscope, they had in their office. It was a big area where they have events and parties, and it's a PA system in there. Mm-hmm. So when you really want to hear what your shit bangs like, it's good to do it on a PA system because that's where you're mostly gonna be heard on just a PA. Period.
Yeah.
So like in a club. So when you hear your shit on PA speakers, that's really where, because, come on, man, you got the Augsburgs and all these different high-tech studio monitors, but studio monitors are only used for mixing. That's for studios and producers. But, to really know it's just like Lil Jon.
Yeah.
Instead of him blowing studio speakers, he used to have the PA speakers brought into the studio because that's really where it's going to end up at.
My God.
It's PA speakers, not monitors. But or in a club atmosphere. So Interscope has a room set up with just these speakers to where if you really want to hear what your shit sound like in a club, you can go to Interscope office and play it in here and it'll blow your head off. And I think every guy who at least have a budget, especially producers or artists, should have that room to where you can really hear what your shit sounds like. Before you even hit the airwaves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
So as one of the greatest producers of all time, what artists and what producers are you rocking with right now that make you say, okay, I'm feeling this vibe, I like this new sound that's coming into the game?
Man, want me to tell you, keeping it 100.
Who?
Man, that boy Pierre Boyd album is jamming. I ain't gonna lie, man. I know niggas was like, bro, that's the last thing I thought Toomp would say. But look here, man. My little brother was playing it when I came to the crib, right? Like about a week ago. I'm like, damn, that shit right. I was like, who was that? He's like, man, that's Pierre Bourne. I said, oh shit, man, him was Instagram buddies. You know? So I've been watching him, following dude and, even his music. But when I heard him as an artist and the way he put that album together, hey man, if y'all haven't heard that boy album, y'all need to check that shit out. That boy could be in the level of the Travis Scott and the rest of them dudes, depending on how he is on stage. You know what I mean? If he got that same energy live that I'm hearing on his album, Pierre Bourne this shit is dope, man.
What do you think?
I'm loving what he's doing just from an artist/producer perspective. You know what I mean? Like once again with Ye, artist/producer.
Facts.
So that's what I respect that a lot.
What do you think it takes for an artist to get from that regular average level to that rock star level? Is it something that they have to have in them? Is it work ethic? Is it God-given gifts? How the hell do you go from being a nigga walking down the street to filling out a doggone stadium for your listening party?
Man, honestly, it ain't even. It's about doing what you do. Doing what's you. Because when you reach over there and try to get that, you know, some people like, oh, you know, I made this one because I want to try to make a crossover song. You don't try to make a crossover song. That shit got to be organic. Yeah. Because if you reach in that bag and just tell your whole crew, hey, man, we want to make a song for this radio station. Yeah. The fans could tell that you're reaching over there. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be obvious that you're reaching into that bag. So if a song cross over, it needs to just be organically. Or if it goes pop, that means that's a popular record. Yeah. See, that's what people get wrong and when they say pop. Oh, man, he went pop. That don't mean he went in the studio saying, I want this album to appeal to different hues of humans. I want to get out the hood and want this to hit the world. That shit, it's an organic thing. You know what I mean? Facts. So, and it's the ones who really just keep coming back to the table. You know what I mean? You got some kind of like a Lil Nas X who, you know, first record end up blowing like that. But like even a Lil Baby right now. Come on, man. This dude started off in Southwest Atlanta. Facts. Trapping. Yeah. You know what I mean? And brought his life to the studio and spitting everything in that booth. And see, that's why you got a lot of cats who don't, one of the things that make a great artist is a person who can bring all their thoughts into that damn booth. Some cats get in that booth and get lost. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. But when you're that artist who really, you get good at bringing your life to that booth and can spit that shit through this microphone, and everybody can relate to your story, oh man, everybody's looking for your next album. And that's why the man keeps releasing records, because he's really doing some shit that's him. He ain't telling another cat's story. All that is him. Facts. That's how he kick it. So yeah, and cats all around the world, once they see you and hear your music and hear your interviews, they'd be like, oh, that's him for real. Exactly. He wear that jacket, you know. He ain't run around trying to kill her, but he got fools around him if it came down to it. Hopefully he'll be smoother where they won't even have to even go to work, where he could just really enjoy the rest of his career and just ride out. You know, we love to hear more music from Lil Baby and a few others.
So after you got paid, how were you able to keep your hunger for the music, man? Did it change when you ain't hungry as hell in the trap just beating on a damn drum machine? When you pulling up in your Porsche, did you feel like making that same stuff?
Yeah.
Or did it? Okay, talk to me.
Because the whole thing is like, you know, you get your money and you move into a crib, after a while, you either gonna want a bigger house or a better house. You know what I mean? You either gonna want the new Porsche, you know, shit, as years go by, you know, shit, that's 2008. You want the 2028 now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's about keeping it and holding on to it. And if you truly love this shit, yeah, that hunger should still be there. But you definitely got to, I had to go through a stage where I almost had to really reintroduce myself to the game, because one thing a lot of cats get caught up into is thinking that everybody's gonna continue fucking with them of what they did 20 years ago. That's why I like, you know, talking about what I did 10, 20 years ago. But I'm be like, I want you to hear what's in my playlist now.
That's right.
Hey, man, that Toomp boy, you know, he did all that T.I., he did that. Yeah, but in 2021, these little cats, man, they between 18 and maybe 25 years old? They know them records, but they want to hear what I have now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a T.I. fan. I'm a fan of Jay-Z. I'm a fan of Kanye, but let's see what OG got to play for me now. Yeah. So that's why I always say, you know, you got to reintroduce, because a lot of cats don't even know me. They know the name. They see my name on the credits, but I've been sitting next to artists, and we'd be in the studio for hours, and they might just hear me say, I might state my opinion on something. They'd be like, damn, OG, what's your name again? I'd be like, Toomp. DJ Toomp. and I'll be like, yeah. Damn, man, I've been here next to you, man. And this the real shit. Get what they say?
What?
Man, my dad used to tell me about you. That's when I know, like, oh shit, boy, I'm 52 for real, boy. Jeez. You know, so and you got to remind, and I had to remind myself, like, I can't expect a whole room full of young rappers to know who I am when I walk in. No, I got to reintroduce myself to these cats.
What is it like when you get in there with them young folks and you start jamming with them?
It's cool. It's cool. It's only a few I can really jam with now. I'm really trying to find the good kids, you know. I ain't gonna lie, I feel like I could kidnap a nigga like Yachty and do an incredible album. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a well-rounded dude. He ain't about all the street shit, you know. I know his dad, Shannon, hella good guy. And so I know how Yachty was raised. So you know what I mean? I know folks who know his mom, so it's like a, you know, A-Town dude. So he's somebody, and me, I just want to sit in the studio and work, man. I don't want to see no guns. You know what I mean? I don't want a room full of guns all on the air.
Come on.
You got your blunt rollers in here, and you got your goons sitting right here who don't know nothing about music. They just here. I figure that just kills all the creative process where you just got so many cats in the room, man, who really are not a part of the production.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just be looking for young cats who really neutral, man. Ain't a part of, you know, ain't claiming no colors.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? No, whatever you got going on, let's just make some good music, man.
Facts.
And that's what I'm the type of new artist that I'm looking to work for. You know, work with. You know what I mean?
When you think about the industry and just get these folks some 101, what is it that they need to know getting into the game before they get into it on what to expect and how to be successful?
Man, one of the main things, Ben, I would say is whatever you had going on before your career popped off, just let that shit go.
Yeah.
Especially if you know, sometimes even with a job, if you got a hell of a job, let's say you got a cat making $100 something a year, but he end up getting a hit record. Before you leave that job, make sure that you really got a good pad over here.
Yeah.
But I always make the example of my boy Marquez, who wrote Waterfalls. He was still managing a hotel while he had records on the charts with Organized Noise. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this man, you got to think, when you over here working, you still getting your benefits, all your insurance, your family covered. But then you know, the music business don't give you that. Yeah. So my whole thing is, man, if you're a street dude, if you were in the streets, let that shit go. Jesus will tell you, man. I told him, Tip told him, a few cats told Jesus, hey man, you can't do both. Yeah. And once he made his mind up, his career took off. And 90% of them, like, you know, even Snoop, you know, something that happened. You remember when he had the murder case that with his homeboy? That was the tail end of him being around that street shit. You know, like, okay, you know what? I really got to stay away from certain people and certain situations. Yeah. To where once you make your mind up and know, like, hey, man, I'm getting ready to be an artist. I'm getting ready to entertain these folks with my craft. And you change the people around you. Not saying you guys just got to cut everybody off, but everybody can't come on the road with you, brother.
That's right.
You know, you got, out of your 20 friends, only about 3 of them will be beneficial out here on the road. And make sure that they actually have a job and not rolling blunts. They got to be assistants. You got to at least train some of your homeboys. So all that, and all that plays a part, man, and make sure you have a great performance. Yeah. You can make good records, but it's a few artists I've seen perform. I'm like, okay, you know what? His songs are way bigger than him. Somebody need to get with him and work on his show. Yeah. Because that's what creates a superstar too. That's why Ye is still one of the biggest cats. Ye will do. You will see Ye do the whole what song? What tour was that when he had the whole stage out there?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, the white stage and all that stuff. I know. I don't know the name of the tour, but I know what you're talking about.
Go in the Dog tour. Yeah. Well, one of his tours, period. But Ye is the artist who will get on there with no hype man, nobody filling in his lyrics. He will say that shit word for word and will give his all in his shows, and people in the audience receive that, and they could tell how passionate you are. That's what creates your fan base. Yeah. That's what makes you a superstar. You can have big records, but you got to be a great performer, man. Thanks. You know, and a lot of cats think it's just about having this record or how many streams. All right, when you hit that stage, bro, you really got to give these folks a show. So it's a lot of artists out there right now. I don't call out no names who got big songs, but when you see them live, it's like, okay. You know what I mean? It's a lot of them. It's a whole lot of them. You know, whatever festival come through the city, you sitting out there in the audience, you'll be able to see like, damn, I love his album, but he got to work on his stage show. And that's what makes you a superstar, bro, because that shit, it comes across and people will feel that. They'll see your passion and what you put into even giving them a show. So, and staying out, like I say, cutting out all the bullshit and staying out of trouble and having a good team, you know?
What's the biggest pitfalls of this music industry, though, Toomp, on a producer side and on an artist side?
Well, one of the first things I would say is your expectancy rate can be a little too high. Damn. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just flow with it. Don't expect everybody to be on your jock, and don't expect everybody to know who you are when you walk into a room. Because you'll see some cats, I didn't get, response that I wanted. So, shit, man, you know. So now you're gonna be shitty on your interview because, you know, these people really don't know you. You're a new artist, so they getting to know you. You come back to this city, they may know who you are.
Facts.
Or when you leave this stage, everybody gonna say, "Ooh, I'm gonna go check his shit out." Dude gave a hell of a show.
That's right.
What's his name again?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So all that, it's like, you know, you got to really be an artist, man. And right now, shit, in 2021, you can't sit back and wait for nobody, no label to promote you. You got to promote yourself. You got iPhones, you got $1,000 phones with state-of-the-art cameras. You could do in-studio videos nowadays, and that shit can still come off as $355 as a nice video on YouTube or whatever. So it's like, with this technology, artists don't even really have to wait for a label to promote them anymore. You can promote yourself. So that's one of the things, man. You know, you want people to love your music, but you want people to love you too. Your lifestyle and how you kick it. Because when your song play out, you ain't gonna play out if you still cool and if you really got a true following. You know what I mean? When the song get old, guess what? He's still active. You still seeing him on commercials. Like Trinidad James ain't released nothing, but people still fuck with him. You still see him on interviews, and he's still getting money. You know, shit, that goddamn Bruno Mars check was nice.
Come on now.
A lot of people don't know. You know, people don't know publishing, don't understand.
Break down that publishing though. How big can them checks get too? Because you know, folks hear about publishing and they see these things, but they don't know how much money can actually be made doing this stuff.
A lot of money, man. You know, one of my first real publishing checks, I went and bought 20 acres in South Fulton. Average nigga would have went and got a diamond necklace with Ferraris, you know what I mean? And moved to LA and found out that was too high for him and brought their ass back. I done seen cats fuck up 150 moving to LA thinking that they were ready for that lifestyle and they end up bringing their ass back home. 200K. But it's really, man, it's so much, man. But see, the thing about it, right now, I mean, you got the streaming numbers, but I would say when I was in my, like, at the peak of my career, when I was really just flowing, you got to think we had MTV. MTV had like several shows, like what was it?
Direct Effects.
Direct Effects, and what was the thing when they was upstairs? TRL. Then they had MTV Raps.
Facts.
Then you had BET. Which had Rap City. Video Vibrations, Video Uncut.
Exactly.
So your song, if you had a hot record like 24's, What You Know, and all them, You Don't Know Me, man, them records were playing like maybe 20 times a day on video, and not to mention what it was getting on air. So you had more video stations going on back then, video channels. So, man, those checks were crazy, bro. And if you... Yeah, man, you could be a writer or a producer or that artist. Yeah, them checks come to your house, and it's a big checks, man, if you got a big record.
How big does the record need to be, and how many records do I need to make to be able to say, okay, I just came in here to...
Make or sell?
Both.
Finish your question?
Yeah, exactly. So how many records do I need to sell? So if I did one record, would one record change my life? And what would 5 records do?
5 records would be cool if all of them are hits. Oh, 5 records, you that new guy. You a super producer. You are the one everybody's coming to Atlanta to see. You that hot guy. You folks flying you all over the place. You know what I mean?
Shit.
You got people flying you in for interviews. You got people who just want your energy. If you got 5 back-to-back hits, but if you just got 5 placements, that don't compare to this one record that a guy like let's say the guy who produced Nelly's first record,
Country Grammar.
Country Grammar. You don't even know that guy's name, do you? The producer. They say it's a white boy out of St. Louis.
Hotchin.
But
that's all I can remember.
Just think, that one record, or whoever produced the Nas X record, like that one record, that one song could swallow 5 just placements. You know, a placement cool, but when you got that hit, that chart buster, oh yeah, and not to mention if you get 5 of them, oh, you're that guy. That'll change your life. But yeah, one song can really change your life if it cross over and do good in the black market, Spanish market, and the white market, and you going all around the world with it, man, yeah, that's a life changer, bro. You have real envelopes coming to your house.
My God. Reality versus fiction, Toomp. When you think about the reality of the music industry versus the fiction that everybody seems to believe, and they think about how do you distinguish between the two, and what is it that you think that folks need to know before they come into the game about the realities versus these dreams and fictions that they believe?
Well, just know whatever label gives you up front, you know, you're going to have to recoup, you know what I mean? Before you see any check, they're going to have to make that back. That's why when some cats see a certain check and they say negative 400,000, yeah, because they gave you so much money up front, you know. That's why you got to hope that after you got this big record and you get signed to a major, that you have another one. You got to come back. That's what makes a super producer. But see, I mean, and when I say this, I'm not shitting on dude in any kind of way, but I don't know the guy who did the Nas X record. But if he had came back with a few more hits on other artists, oh yeah, he'll be a household name as far as producers. Everybody say, oh man, that's such a boy. He cold. He did the Nas X record. He did this and this. And that's when I became that guy. Is once people connected me with the first Tip record, then they heard another one. They might have heard 5 or 6 more. Like, damn, oh, who did that? Damn, Toomp again. Yeah. And then when it came to Jeezy, oh shit, Toomp. Kanye, Toomp. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jay-Z, Toomp. Yeah. And when they keep seeing that credit, yeah, that's when you become that guy. And like I say, man, they'll fly you all over the world just to even hear what you got to say or hear what you got to play.
My God, when you think about going all over the world, Toomp, what was your favorite time?
Barcelona was cool.
My God.
Yeah, Red Bull flew me out there, man. We did a whole little thing, man, for like a week, man. They eat so clean out there, and it's just a beautiful place. Yeah. Barcelona, Spain is dope, man. You know what I mean? I was working / vacation. I still didn't get a chance to see the whole place, but I had a great time. And just seeing cats who came to this little university and watch, hear my lecture, and they knew all my songs, bruh, and some of them couldn't even speak good English, man. They was from Brazil and all over the place, but knew every fucking record that I produced.
Okay, a nigga from Campbellton Road, Thera High School, find himself in Barcelona teaching a class on production. What was going through your damn mind, Toomp?
That this is something that I didn't even expect this part of the game. I didn't expect this part. I didn't see that. I'm just thinking of just go, okay, you just go get some checks, you just gonna be chilling, go to every Tyson fight or maybe Mayweather fight and just, and buy more land. But man, when I got that call, and like a few calls, even right before COVID, they wanted me to come to Paris, and they would give me $75 just to really talk to some people for like an hour and a half. 100, not 1,000. I wish it was 1,000, 7,500. But just the fact that, okay, everything paid for, and I'm just gonna fly me over here. Yeah. But when COVID kicked in, it just went out. But I think they're gonna reach back out. I think my assistant said that they reached out again. But it's just certain things that come with it that you don't know that's attached to this game. You know what I mean? Like you say, the plaques and all that. And all the other little trinkets you get, of course you're going to get some little jewelry and some other stuff to spoil yourself, but just knowing that people really, you got a whole country or a whole city who just want to even hear what you have to say. Like, that's interesting. So that's why I've been getting my whole thing up on even motivational speaking. I cover music, I cover health, I cover, mental, just understanding how the mind really works. It's a lot that I cover when I do my lectures. So
mental, Toomp. Keeping your mind right throughout it all, man, because you done seen a lot and did a lot. You done still maintain your humility, but when I say humility, that's just your relatability to the real people out here in the streets. But then also you've been around Ye's, J's, Tips, and Jeezys, and the best of the best, and you're a Grammy-winning producer. Mentally, and then with a humble beginning, how has that all impacted your mind?
Way stronger. I know humans, man. You know what I mean? I know humans very well. Like in my 52 years of being on this planet, I really feel like I know humans. Not saying that everybody's the same, but I could be around a person long enough to say, okay, I know how to deal with him.
Yeah.
Or I know how to deal with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I know how to deal with them. You know, I can feel sometimes you can feel the crowd of a room, the way a room would feel. And being around so many different settings, man, from the highs to the lows, you know what I mean? And all that plays a part in being a superstar too. Your mind got to be right, man.
Yeah.
You know, one interview you could have the biggest record in the world, or the biggest, your career could be going, but one interview you might say something real derogatory about the wrong person, and your shit'll go to hell overnight, or do the wrong thing. So yeah, your mind got to be right, man. And meditation. You know, take time to breathe for about 10 minutes a day. Just breathe. Heavy inhaling, exhaling. That shit even takes a little off your waist if you breathe the right way. Because a lot of what we think is weight is air.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, that's just good for your, man, if you just take time and really breathe, heavy inhaling, exhaling, that shit works with your mind and your body as well, bruh. Suits fit different and everything. Yeah, I learned that from one of my military folks.
Okay, so Toomp, this conversation is just gonna go around the world because you done triggered my mind to rolling 30-year-old Toomp. What was that nigga thinking about?
All right, I'm trying to do my math. 30-year-old, I'm 52 now.
22 years ago, that's 20, that's 2000. The year 2000, you getting ready to goddamn crank up.
The year 2000, man. Come on, man. That's when me and Clifford Harris was, we knew we had some shit going on.
Facts.
We knew we was making some noise around here.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about him. Everybody was asking me about him and what y'all doing and how did y'all get there? And so I knew that we was onto something. And one thing I definitely knew is from the amount of records and the level that those records had gotten to, that I was going to be getting more work from. You know, I knew more people. I would be a high demand producer, and I knew he would be a high demand artist as well. You know, everybody would want him featured on stuff, and shit, not to mention, shit, they found out that he can act a little bit. Yeah. Next thing you know, he was in pretty decent demand as far as the film industry. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just right then I knew I was on my way somewhere, but I really didn't know exactly where it was going. That's why I just let the universe guide me, man. You know, sometimes the ancestors, or some people can say it's God. You know what I mean? Yeah. But sometimes you don't know who guiding you, man. I can say it'd be 3 different entities moving me around sometimes. You know?
I'm with you.
But 30, but at 30, I knew we were going somewhere, but just didn't know. I just figured I'd enjoy the trip, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
40-year-old Toomp. He done been done that, been around the block, and seen it all and did it all. What was going through his damn mind?
40, what's that, 2010? Around that time, a lot of stuff had blasted, man. Because really my strongest run was between 05 and really 10. Yeah. Or more. I would say, a few more after that. But all the mega hits, between 05 and maybe 10. Yeah. But around 10, at 40, that's when I really started paying attention to how to move the money around. You know what I mean? What I need to do. Yeah. I already had purchased some land like in 07. Yeah. But my whole thing was what to do with this land. So I just sat on that and kept the taxes paid. But around like 010, when I started really trying to, understand more of what technology was going, you know what I mean? Like even to this day, I still go through certain tech villages and just peep, peep all the little geeks and just pick their brain on certain shit because that's the future, bro. So I started really getting into that, started paying attention to what the future holds.
Where were you at mentally at that time though? After having your mind blown all the way through your 30s of just goating, now you at 40. Was you tired of it? Was you used to it? Was you still ready to go again? What the hell?
You know what? And that's a great question because you would say 2010 after having that run. Yeah, your main thing, and every artist and producer, you'd be like, all right, see if I could do another one. Let's see if I can get some more hits. Yeah. A lot of placements came, those are cool checks, but that hit. Yeah. You get on everybody's album, but that hit, that chart buster, you know what I mean? That #1 record for a whole month or whatnot. That's what and that's something that I was reaching for, you know what I mean? And I think I ended up getting that Mariah Carey placement, that Loving You Long Time. That was around 10. And it was a nice record, but I was hoping that it would just do like, you know, I can't be without you, babe. Shout out to JD, him and Brian Cox. That was a huge record. Still one of my favorite Mariah records to this day.
God, yes,
but I was hoping that would do something like that Loving You Long Time. It was a cool song. But yeah, around that time, after you have a run like that, hell yeah, your goal is to try to get another big ass single. That's really in my mind state right now is another big single. Just getting on somebody's album is cool, but having that big record, man, that even like I say, that just one record that year.
Yeah,
you can have 8 placements, but if you got that one record, that just that chart,
topper,
that #1 joint, oh man, come on, you good.
When you bust 50, did you give a damn about anything anymore?
Well, I would say around 50, man, you know, because I'm a dad. My daughter, about to be 14.
Yeah.
At 50, man, I really started looking at life like, hey, man, you know, this the second, you half 100 now.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this the part at being 52, you really got to ask and tell yourself at 50, hey, hold on. You really got about 25 and 30 good years.
Yeah.
You can live up to 100 or something, but good, being healthy and being able to, you know, wipe your own ass and long list of shit. So you really don't have but 25. Once you hit 50, you don't have but really 25 to 30 more good years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just time to just expand, open your mind up, find out what you need to invest in. Start setting up for your nieces and nephews and your kid.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter. You just start really looking at things at a whole nother perspective. But I still love music, you know what I mean? But you still just want to get more wiser with how you move your finances around, because that's what really, you know, once again, we don't have no type of pension plan in this industry. You know what I mean? And I think somewhere, you know, in the equation, we should put something together and come up with something. But right now, that's why I always tell people, you got that cat who been working at General Motors who retired, but he's gonna get something every month until he's out of here.
Yeah.
So a cat who work at General Motors all the while watching, you know, listening to Toomp records on the radio, he's still, you got to think his insurance is covered, his medical, his dental, and all that good shit, and his family is under that same thing.
Yeah.
But in the music business, bro, you kind of got to get creative with your finances and keep this shit moving. So at 50, you start really looking at it like, okay, do I really want to be sitting in the studio with some cats 20 years younger than me, hoping that they like my beats? Like, you know, like you say, the reality of this shit. Do you really want to be 50-something in the studio with some 20-year-old dudes hoping that they like your beats? Oh, okay. Let me go through another one, man.
Hell no.
What's up, whatever, you know, they call you pop, OG, what else you got over there, man? Let me hear another one. Like, you really got to keep that shit 100. Like, nah, I ain't trying to.
You don't trying to do that shit.
No, man, I'm trying to move this money around. Come buy some more earth.
Exactly.
And develop this shit. Get with my development companies. We're going to do a joint venture and just build a subdivision and just keep going, buying more earth and I still I make tracks every day. Like, but just being out here chasing artists, oh no, man. No, you don't want to do that in your 50s, man.
Exactly.
You don't want to do that. If anything, you want them hollering at you. That's why even right now with the thing with dude being here in the city, knowing where them hits came from the last time he came here, it's kind of like, I shouldn't have to be chasing you, boy.
I feel you too.
Well, I shouldn't be.
Y'all gotta grab it together.
I shouldn't have to just be, damn, who managed Jay? Okay, I'm breaking my neck, calling Farnsworth, Boo. Hip hop, like damn, should I really, for being responsible for, should I really have to be calling you like this? Let me just fall back and let this shit happen organically, like how I was raised.
Come on,
you know what I mean? Because when me and him got together, that wasn't forced.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, that shit happened with me and him working on Jeezy's remix together, and he ended up hearing. Well, he remember what he heard from when I did trap music, because a lot of people don't remember Ye was on trap music also.
Facts,
so that's when we really met.
Yeah,
and he was playing some of his solo stuff back then, letting me and Tip and them hear it. But yeah, getting back to that. So yeah, at 52, Yeah, I love what Ye's doing. I love the way he do things, but man, I'm not finna be chasing nobody.
I ain't mad at you.
Right, but you know I got that heat.
Exactly.
I got it. It's there. They there. But I'm not chasing nobody.
How many tracks are you sitting on over there, Toomp, that you don't even let nobody hear because you know it's just too hard for a young kid to even hear?
Man, honestly, I let folks hear them.
Okay.
I sent folders to a few cats out here. Actually, from going to the event that we went at the
Donda.
A joint,
Yeah.
I ran into a few unsigned artists who I'm like, yo, send me your email.
Exactly.
And niggas be shocked that I send them a folder. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, shit, OG, oh, man, but for real? And I'm like, yeah, because that's how I feel about it now. It's like, the streaming thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a cat who worked at this little building right here cleaning up, but he tell you, hey, B.I., man, I be rapping, boy. And this man, you got beats. Well, let me send this nigga something. Next thing you know, Youngin put his shit on there, go viral. And next thing you know, all these women TikToking and they TikToking to this one beat you just gave this guy because he put lyrics to your shit.
Exactly.
Unsigned. Guess what? You got control of that situation. Now you could grab him. That'd be your new artist.
Exactly.
This dude you just having to run to downstairs. So that's how this industry is now, to where I'm not all about just dealing with artists that signed. Let me holler at the unsigned cats too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So shit, just send me that email. That's why folks be hitting me on Instagram. Like, here you go. There you go. You can't, it's my music, so I ain't worried about nobody trying to jerk me around.
Exactly.
Wherever it go, I own this shit. So
Facts.
you're gonna come back to me to get the files anyway. You just got the 2-track.
Come on.
Which is halfway mixed. You know what I mean? If you want to really take it there, we're gonna have to get it mixed and mastered.
Exactly.
Just to make this shit the Sonics hit. So you got to come back to me. So I'm not stingy. So yeah, man, I got like 3-4 different Macs that I work off of. I got an iMac, 3 laps, about 4 hard drives, just external hard drives, just with files, man. I got it's way over 1,000 different directions. R&B, rap, hip hop shit, young nigga shit, gangster shit.
Ooh.
We get into some Miami Bays when somebody want to go back to that. Anybody want to get in that 140 BPM? I got that too. You know what I mean?
That's hard.
So actually, man, my main thing is really, man, to just go on and start putting out instrumental albums on my site. And just charging people $25 a download.
That's a game changer.
I might feature an artist on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, these are gonna be licensed album with licensed instrumentals.
Yeah.
So that means if Colgate want to use something, or Coca-Cola might hear something, they just holler at me because it's licensed. It's registered. So boom. So it's just so many ways that you could eat out here.
That's right.
But it took me a minute because, I was hating on the whole streaming shit for a minute. But now that I done, had a chance.
Realize that there's some money over there.
There's some money over there now.
Shit.
Because I was so caught into the physical, you know what I mean? It's old interviews. And I still feel that, I love selling tangible things though.
Thanks.
You know what I mean? So right along with you streaming or downloading my music, I'm going to have my merchandise on there and all that, thinking out our main purpose. That's the Toomp acronym for Toomp.
That's right.
That's
hard.
Yeah, thinking out our main purpose. Yeah. So it's gonna be some merchandise with that, and that's the site. Matter of fact, thinkingoutOurMainPurpose.com. You got DJToompMusic.com. Okay. So there's a few joints I'm working on. I just got to load them all up and get it together. Yeah. To where it makes sense. Because really after these instrumental albums start doing their numbers, hell yeah, I'm gonna start featuring new unsigned artists on my joint.
Exactly.
Yeah, so whatever happens, I got my hands on it.
Well, I'm here for all of that, Toomp.
Thank you, bro.
I'm here for all of that,
I'm here for whatever you're doing. You already know, man. It's time to eat around this bitch. It's time to eat, B. You know what I mean? Shit. Hey, ain't nobody number standing still. Shit,
exactly.
Boy, like I say, I'm 52. I'll be 52 this year, man.
Yes,
August 2nd, bro. And I'm glad to be on this earth 52 years.
You done did that.
Hey, got to get creative, man. The older we get, the more we got to get creative with just how we move. Mm-hmm. Like you say, with the money that's being made.
That's right.
And with the people that's around you, you're going to have to edit some motherfuckers out. You're going to have to bring in some new people. Or just maybe keep your solid circle that you have.
Exactly.
But, like I say, man, at 50, this is our second wave of life. Half 100, Whatever you do now matters.
Yeah.
After that, it ain't no, this it. After 50, like I say, you fit 60, 70. You're too old to do anything. It's time to go. So you got to leave some cool shit behind, man.
Exactly.
And like I say, being 50, I be tripping when I see certain cats, you know, still want to stand on the couch in the clubs and just smoke hookahs all night. I'm like, come on, man, you older than me, man. You really are still doing this shit, bro, for real?
Yeah.
It'd be different if you promoting that night now or something, but if you just in here like everybody else on a regular basis, come on, man, you're going to have to tighten up,
I feel that.
Brother. For real. It's 50s, man. I'll tell you, once you hit 50, man, it's time, man. Oh, boy, things start changing. You got to exercise a little more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Knees start doing different shit. Hey, and again, like you say, keeping it 100, you got to check your prostate. That urine might start coming out a little slower.
Yeah.
You got to check all that. Don't mean you got prostate cancer, but you might have enlarged.
A
lot of stuff. Pay attention to your heartbeat.
Yeah.
Folks be ignoring stuff, man. Yeah. So when our warning lights come on in our car, guess what? We take it straight to Porsche. We take it straight to Ferrari.
That's right.
We go straight to the dealership.
That's right.
When our warning lights show on our body, guess what?
We go to bed.
We go to bed. and hope that you wake up and that shit is gone. That's what niggas do. And we got to get out of that, bro.
You right.
And so that's what I'm saying. So when I get into my shit, I love talking about music, of course, but I love just getting into regular life shit,
exactly.
Man, you know what I mean? And speaking of just experiences, man, because so many people can relate, man.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
And you just think, man. Nowadays, you can have a fan base just because your story runs parallel to so many people.
Everybody else's
without a hit record or nothing.
Come on.
Just the fact that you have a platform that people can relate to your life and say,
exactly.
Man, I fuss with him. Boy, I went through that same thing.
Exactly.
Oh man, he just answered something for me.
Yep.
I'm that guy. That's the part we play now.
Exactly.
We in our 50s now. That's the part we play.
I'm here for it.
You know.
Toomp, is there anything you want to get off your chest? And how can these folks contact you, man, if they need to holler at you?
Man, DJ_Toomp. It's my Instagram. DJToompmusic.com. Thinking Out Our Main Purpose.com. I know that's pretty long. And you know, shit, if you know somebody who know me, they got my phone number. Hopefully, I think I'm gonna get another number though for the public. You know how Mike Jones had that little hotline.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
exactly.
I think I'm gonna do that because I love just talking to people anyway, man. But I'm not hard to find at all. You know, I'm A-Town all day. You know, I've lived in LA a few times. You know, like once or twice, but in Miami for a while. But this is my home.
Yeah.
Everybody's like one human from knowing each other, so
Facts.
It's easy to catch up with me, man. Especially if you want to talk business, whether it's music, technology, farming, health, just even conversation, you know, advice, you know. I got it. You know what I mean?
We here for it.
Yeah.
Beehive Radio shouted. DJ Toomp, we'll holler at y'all in a minute, man. Here we go.
Holla.